I was starting out, I made a lot of mistakes with money, overspending, chasing quick wins, and thinking I had more time than I really did. But once I shifted my habits, everything changed. That's why in this video, I'm going to share the 5 habits that can make you a millionaire before 30 practical, proven steps you can start applying right now to change the trajectory of your financial future. Many young people look around and see their peers driving nicer cars, traveling to expensive destinations, or even buying property before 30, and they start to wonder why their own efforts don't seem to be producing the same results. The problem is that building wealth early isn't just about how hard you work, it's about how effectively you channel your energy and decisions. Hard work alone doesn't guarantee financial success because countless people spend years trading time for money without building assets that generate income on their own. If you're stuck in this loop, it feels frustrating. You're hustling, but you don't see the results you want. The reality is that people who build wealth early aren't necessarily working harder. They're just working smarter, making deliberate moves that allow money to compound in their favor instead of slipping through their fingers. The solution lies in shifting from a mindset of just hoarding to one of building. This means understanding that every financial choice you make today has a multiplying effect over time. Someone who saves $500 a month and invests it intelligently isn't just saving $6 in a year. They're creating a snowball that compounds into hundreds of thousands of dollars over the next decade. By contrast, someone who puts the same $500 into a car payment or impulse shopping ends up with depreciating items that drain money rather than create it. The difference isn't effort, it's allocation. Once you recognize that your income should not only cover your needs, but also be directed toward investments, you unlock the same opportunities that those early millionaires tap into. For example, imagine 2 friends who both graduate college at 22 and start earning $50,000 a year. Friend A decides to live modestly, rents a smaller apartment, skips the luxury car, and consistently invests $500 each month into an index fund that grows on average 8% annually. By age 30, that single habit results in nearly $75,000 saved and invested. Meanwhile, friend B decides to reward themselves for their hard work with a nice apartment and a new car, spending most of their income and saving very little. By age 30, friend B might have little to no savings and possibly debt. The difference between the two is staggering, not because friend A made more money, but because they built the habit of saving and investing early, turning effort into long-term results. The same principle applies to career choices and side hustles. Some people work the same hours but build scalable income streams, while others clock in, clock out, and never think beyond their paycheck. If you use your free time to learn skills like digital marketing, coding, or real estate investing, you create leverage that allows your income to grow far beyond your starting salary. Meanwhile, others might spend that same free time consuming entertainment without realizing the cost of lost opportunity. The simple truth is, wealth at a young age is often the product of daily decisions compounded over time, not one big windfall or lucky break. The reason some people become wealthy early isn't a mystery. They align their habits, discipline, and decisions with long-term wealth creation, while others unintentionally sabotage themselves with short-term thinking. The real gap isn't in how hard people work, it's in how smartly they position themselves to let money grow. That's why, if you've ever felt stuck despite putting in the hours, the solution is to shift your focus from just working harder to working smarter, using the same 24 hours to make choices that will pay you back in the future rather than drain your financial potential in the present. One of the biggest reasons young people fail to build wealth early is because they fall into common money traps that look harmless in the moment, but quietly sabotage their future. The problem is overspending and chasing quick wins. Society constantly pushes you to believe that success is tied to what you own. The newest phone, the luxury car lease, the expensive vacations you can post online. For many in their 20s, the temptation to keep up with peers creates a cycle of paycheck to paycheck living. Even those who save occasionally often undo their progress by gambling on risky investments or chasing trends, thinking that one lucky move will solve all their financial problems. The hard truth is that overspending on depreciating items and chasing shortcuts rarely builds wealth. Instead, it drains energy and keeps you locked in the same financial place year after year. The solution is building a foundation of discipline and delayed gratification. Instead of treating every paycheck as money to be spent, reframe it as a tool to buy freedom. That means separating needs from wants and creating clear priorities. Start by tracking where your money goes and eliminating small leaks that don't add value to your life. Redirecting even a few $100s each month from unnecessary purchases into long-term investments changes everything. Delayed gratification isn't about living a boring life or never enjoying yourself. It's about understanding that your money has power, and every dollar saved and invested is a seed planted for future independence. Alongside this discipline, avoiding the urge for quick wins is critical. Whether it's meme stocks, crypto hype, or get-rich-quick schemes, these distractions rarely produce consistent results. Building wealth requires patience, strategy, and consistency, not gambling on the latest trend. Take the example of 2 young professionals, both 25 years old and earning similar incomes. The first spends freely on weekend trips, new gadgets, and dining out multiple times a week. justifying it with the thought that I work hard, I deserve this. But 30, despite earning a good salary, they have little saved, maybe some debt, and no assets that generate income. The second professional makes a conscious choice to live below their means. They still enjoy life, but set clear boundaries. They budget for entertainment, avoid impulse purchases, and invest consistently in a diversified portfolio. By 30, they may have built a six-figure investment account, giving them not just security but options, whether that means starting a business, buying property, or simply having peace of mind. The contrast highlights how overspending and chasing quick wins cost far more than people realize, while steady discipline creates opportunities that compound over time. Another real-world example can be seen in how people handle investing trends. During the cryptocurrency boom, many young people poured thousands into coins without understanding the risks, hoping to double or triple their money quickly. Some got lucky, but most lost big when the market corrected. On the other hand, those who ignored the hype and kept investing steadily into long-term assets like index funds or real estate watched their wealth grow predictably and sustainably. The difference isn't luck, it's strategy. One group was focused on quick gratification, while the other was focused on steady progress. Overspending and quick win-chasing feel exciting in the short term, but they rob you of the compounding power of time. Every dollar spent impulsively today is a dollar that could have multiplied tenfold in the next decade. Every quick gamble on a hot trend distracts from the steady path to real wealth. The young millionaires aren't necessarily the ones who took the biggest risks. They're the ones who consistently avoided these traps and built a system of disciplined choices that multiplied over time. The problem many young people face is the belief that they have unlimited time to figure out their finances. In their 20s, it feels like there's no rush because retirement is decades away and serious money habits can wait until later. This mindset leads to procrastination, delaying saving, investing, or learning how to manage money because they think they'll make up for it when they're older and earning more. The issue is that time is the single most powerful tool for building wealth. And once it's wasted, it can never be recovered. Every year you delay, you lose out on the exponential benefits of compound interest, which can be the difference between financial independence and financial stress. The illusion of having plenty of time is what keeps people trapped in financial mediocrity, because by the time they realize how valuable their 20s were, they've already missed the window where small amounts of money could grow into something massive. The solution is recognizing the value of time and acting as early as possible, even if you're starting with small amounts. Building wealth isn't about hitting home runs or investing huge sums of money overnight. It's about consistency and letting compounding do the heavy lifting. The earlier you start, the less you need to contribute because your money multiplies on its own. Think of investing as planting a tree. The earlier you plant it, the more years it has to grow strong roots and provide shade. The mistake most people make is waiting until they feel ready. But waiting just shortens the timeline and forces you to put in far more effort later to achieve the same results. Even setting aside a small percentage of your income in your early 20s can grow into a life-changing amount by your 30s and beyond. The solution, then, is simple: start now, no matter how little you think you can save or invest. For example, imagine two individuals, Sarah and David. Sarah starts investing $300 per month at age 22. Putting her money into an index fund that averages a return of 8% per year. By the time she's 30, she has contributed around $28,800, but thanks to compounding, her account is worth closer to $40,000. If she continues, by the time she's 50, she could have well over $400,000 invested. On the other hand, David decides to wait until 30 to start investing, thinking he'll have more disposable income later. He contributes the same $300 per month, but now has lost 8 years of growth. Even if he continues at the same pace, by 50 his account balance is far lower than Sarah's, despite contributing the same amount monthly. The only difference is when they started, and that timing created a massive gap in results. Another relatable example is in real estate. A young person who buys their first rental property in their early 20s, even a modest one, has an extra decade of equity growth, rent collection, and appreciation compared to someone who waits until their 30s. That early decision creates momentum, often allowing them to buy multiple properties by the time others are only just beginning. The person who delayed doesn't just start later. They also miss out on opportunities that snowball into greater wealth. The compounding effect isn't only about money and investments, it's also about the experience, confidence, and opportunities gained by starting earlier than everyone else. The difference between those who become millionaires before 30 and those who don't often comes down to this mindset around time. Those who start early, even with small amounts, give themselves an incredible advantage because time magnifies their efforts. Those who delay, thinking they can always catch up later, discover too late that catching up requires far more work, money, and risk than if they had simply started as soon as possible. The problem many young people face is that they underestimate the impact of their daily habits on their long-term financial success. They think wealth is built from big, dramatic decisions or once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, when in reality it's the quiet, consistent behaviors practiced day after day that create lasting results. Without realizing it, small negative habits, like ordering food delivery multiple times a week, relying on credit cards for unnecessary purchases, or scrolling away hours of productive time, compound in the wrong direction, costing thousands of dollars and countless opportunities over the years. The danger is that these small habits feel insignificant in the moment, so they're easy to ignore. But just like bad eating habits eventually show up in your health, bad money habits eventually show up in your bank account. The lack of attention to daily behavior is what keeps so many people financially stagnant despite having goals of becoming wealthy. The solution is to shift your focus from chasing big wins to cultivating strong, repeatable habits that align with wealth building. This means creating automatic systems that reinforce good decisions without requiring constant willpower. For example, setting up automatic transfers into an investment account right after payday ensures that saving happens before you even get the chance to spend. Building the habit of budgeting weekly, tracking expenses, or reviewing investments monthly creates awareness and control. It's not about perfection, but about consistency, choosing to repeat the right small actions until they become second nature. Over time, these habits become the foundation for financial stability and growth, allowing you to progress steadily without relying on sudden windfalls or drastic lifestyle changes. By making wealth-building behaviors automatic, you remove the reliance on motivation, which is fleeting, and replace it with structure, which is reliable. Consider the example of two young professionals, both earning the same income. One of them, let's call him Jake, doesn't think much about habits. He spends impulsively, saves only when he feels like it, and invests occasionally when reminded by friends. Over time, he experiences small wins but never builds momentum, and his finances always feel like a roller coaster. The other professional, Anna, sets up a system of habits early on. She automatically saves 20% of her paycheck, invests consistently every month regardless of the market, and tracks her spending weekly to avoid waste. By the time both of them are 30, Anna's habits have built her a strong financial base, while Jake's lack of structure has left him with little progress despite earning the same amount. The key difference wasn't intelligence, income, or luck. It was the power of consistent habits. Another real-world example is found in how people handle debt. Someone without structured habits may use credit cards for every purchase, only paying the minimum balance each month. Over time, the debt snowballs, interest charges eat into income, and financial stress builds. Contrast that with someone who builds the habit of paying off their credit card balance in full each month and using credit only as a tool, not a crutch. That simple habit saves thousands of dollars in interest over a few years and keeps them free from the burden of debt. What seems like a small choice at first, paying in full or not, creates a massive difference in financial outcomes. Habits are invisible forces that either work for you or against you. Those who become millionaires before 30 understand that wealth is rarely about sudden strokes of luck. It's about building daily systems that ensure money flows in the right direction. By recognizing the hidden power of habits and intentionally shaping them to support financial growth, you create a foundation that compounds over time, making wealth almost inevitable while others continue to struggle with inconsistency and lack of direction. One of the most common problems people face when trying to build wealth early is the tendency to rely on a single source of income. Most young professionals assume that their job alone will eventually make them rich if they just work hard enough, but this is rarely the case. A single paycheck is fragile. It depends on your employer, the economy, and circumstances outside your control. If that paycheck is disrupted, your entire financial foundation collapses. Even if it remains stable, relying on one stream of income often means your earnings are capped, with raises and promotions coming slowly if at all. Meanwhile, expenses keep rising, and inflation quietly eats away at your purchasing power. This problem is why so many hardworking people still struggle financially. They put all their faith in one income stream instead of creating multiple avenues that can work for them. The solution is to build diversified income streams, especially in your 20s when you have more energy, fewer responsibilities, and the ability to take calculated risks. By creating multiple ways for money to flow into your life, you protect yourself from uncertainty and unlock greater opportunities for wealth. This could mean starting a side hustle, investing in real estate, creating digital products, freelancing, or even something as simple as dividend investing. Each additional stream doesn't just increase your income, it compounds your security and accelerates the path to financial independence. Having 2, 3, or even 4 streams of income ensures that if one slows down or disappears, you still have others sustaining you. More importantly, it allows you to funnel extra income into investments, creating a cycle where money grows faster and works harder for you. Take the example of someone named Chris. At 24, he starts his career earning a decent salary, but realizes early on that depending solely on his job won't make him wealthy before 30. So he begins freelancing online in the evenings, offering digital marketing services. At first, he only makes a few $100s extra each month, but within a year, it grows into a consistent $100s and $500 monthly. Instead of spending it, Chris invests that money into index funds and saves for a down payment on a rental property. By 28, he's not only grown his freelance side hustle into a small business, but also owns 2 properties generating rental income alongside his job and investments. Compare this with his colleague, who relied only on the same salary, spent freely, and hoped for promotions. By 30, the difference in financial position is staggering. Chris now has 3 streams of income fueling his wealth. while his colleague is still dependent on one paycheck with little progress. Another powerful example can be seen in content creation. Many people in their 20s underestimate the potential of building an online presence around their skills, hobbies, or expertise. Someone who starts a YouTube channel, blog, or podcast in their free time might not make much at first, but consistent effort can grow into ad revenue, sponsorships, or product sales. For instance, a young person passionate about personal finance could create content teaching others how to save and invest. Over a few years, that content might generate thousands in passive income while also building authority in their field. Combined with a job and smart investing, this creates yet another income stream. The difference between those who become millionaires before 30 and those who don't often comes down to how they view income. Those who stick to one paycheck limit their potential and put themselves at risk, while those who create multiple streams build both wealth and resilience. By diversifying where your money comes from, you're not just earning more, you're building a system that works around the clock, accelerating your progress toward financial freedom and protecting you from setbacks that could derail your journey. Another problem many young people run into on their journey to becoming wealthy is the lack of financial literacy and mentorship. Schools rarely teach practical money skills like how to budget, invest, use credit wisely, or build assets, and most people grow up learning about money through trial and error. Without guidance, it's easy to make costly mistakes, signing up for high-interest debt, investing in the wrong places, or trusting unreliable advice. The lack of knowledge creates fear and hesitation. So many avoid making financial decisions altogether. Others try to move forward but end up copying what they see around them, which often leads to mediocrity at best and financial ruin at worst. Without mentors or reliable resources, young people drift without a clear strategy, hoping things will eventually work out. This lack of education and guidance delays progress and keeps many from reaching their true financial potential. The solution is to prioritize financial literacy and seek out mentors who can guide you. In today's world, there is no excuse for staying financially uneducated because resources are everywhere. Books, podcasts, online courses, and YouTube channels dedicated to wealth building strategies. By dedicating even 30 minutes a day to learning about money, investing, and entrepreneurship, you start to shift your mindset and equip yourself with tools most people never acquire. Alongside self-education, finding mentors is crucial. A mentor doesn't have to be someone you meet in person. It can be someone whose content you consume, whose strategies you study, and whose mistakes you learn from. Surrounding yourself with people who are financially ahead of you accelerates your growth because you see what's possible, learn shortcuts, and avoid errors that would have cost you years. Knowledge and guidance turn guesswork into strategy and strategy into results. For example, consider someone named Lisa. At 22, she graduates college and begins earning a decent income, but quickly realizes she doesn't know what to do with her money. Instead of guessing, she commits to reading one book a month on personal finance and follows reputable finance creators online. She learns about budgeting, the importance of an emergency fund, and the power of compound investing. At the same time, she joins a local business networking group where she connects with an older entrepreneur who mentors her about building side businesses. Over the next few years, Lisa applies what she learns. She invests consistently, avoids bad debt, and starts a small e-commerce side hustle that eventually generates a steady income. By 30, she's far ahead of her peers financially, not because she was smarter or luckier, but because she chose to prioritize education and mentorship rather than winging it. Another example can be seen in the contrast between two college graduates who both want to invest. One decides to figure it out alone, reads a few blogs, and impulsively puts money into whatever stock is trending online. Within a couple of years, they've lost money and become discouraged, deciding that investing isn't for them. The other graduate, however, invests time into learning the basics of index funds, diversification, and risk management. They follow credible sources, ask questions in finance communities, and eventually connect with a mentor who guides them through their first few years of investing. By 30, this person has built a healthy portfolio and gained the confidence to continue growing it, while the first graduate is still financially stuck. The difference wasn't opportunity, it was literacy and guidance. The truth is that wealth doesn't happen by accident. Those who become millionaires before 30 deliberately educate themselves and seek guidance from those who've already walked the path. By replacing ignorance with knowledge and isolation with mentorship, they transform confusion into clarity and accelerate their journey toward financial success. Becoming a millionaire before 30 isn't about luck, it's about choices. First, recognize that hard work alone won't make you rich. You need to channel your energy into smart financial moves. Second, avoid overspending and chasing quick wins because discipline and delayed gratification always win in the long run. Third, understand the power of time. Start early, even if it's small, and let compounding work for you. Fourth, build strong daily habits because consistent actions create unstoppable momentum. Fifth, don't rely on just one paycheck. Create multiple income streams to protect yourself and accelerate your growth. And sixth, invest in financial literacy and mentorship because the right knowledge and guidance will save you years of mistakes. These 6 principles, when applied together, create the roadmap to financial independence long before most people even begin. If you found this valuable, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a comment below on which habit you'll start building today.